G'day. Max Verstappen will have to stump up more than €1 million for his 2024 F1 Super licence. Logan Sargeant, well, he'll pay less than $13,000. Yes, it's exactly the same licence, but why the big price difference? Well, I'll get to that in just a moment. First up, what is an F1 Super licence? It's a piece of paper that allows a driver to race in F1. And how does one qualify for one of these licences? There are a number of steps involved, like passing physical and mental tests, demonstrating experience and skill in other racing categories, and meeting age and nationality requirements. Now, this is not like your or my driver's licence. It's a simple but highly prized piece of paper issued by the FIA. And the system for qualifying for the licence is reviewed and updated regularly. And this has been in place since the competition began in 1950. It's fair to say that it goes some way towards making sure that people who might be a menace to the sport don't get into the sport. It also stops someone with oodles of money effectively buying a licence and then becoming a menace in the sport. Let's look at the cost, because it's a rather bizarre system where the best drivers pay the most for their licences. The more points a driver scored in 2023, the higher the price of their 2024 licence. There's a base fee of €10,400, and then for every point that a driver scores, they pay another €2,100. Max scored 575 points, times by 2,100. Whoa! So his licence fee for 2024 is a whopping €1,217,900. That would have bought 20 Teslas, 9 911 Carreras, 5 Ferrari Romas, or 2 Ferrari SF90 Spiders in Europe. And what about Max's teammate Sergio Perez? Well, he's up for about half the amount that Max will pay. And do the drivers pay for their licences? No. The teams pay for all of their drivers' licences, so Red Bull in 2024 will stump up just over €1.8 million. And while their drivers secured a total of 860 points in 2023, those points ensured the team won the Constructors' Championship, and by doing so, the team took away something like €126 million in prize money. Trust me, every team would love to be paying $1.8 million for their drivers' super licences. Now, to get a super licence, drivers have to be at least 18 years of age and have a valid racing licence from their home country. But hang on, what about Max? Didn't he get his licence at 17? Correct, but the 18-year age criteria was not in place then. Now, to qualify for a licence, every driver must have a certain number of points in the FIA Super Licence points system, and that's based on their results in various junior categories of motorsports, such as Formula 2, Formula 3, and even IndyCar. And speaking of IndyCar, does someone like Pato O'Ward need an F1 Super Licence to do an FP1 session in Abu Dhabi, which he did 2023 and in 2022? No. Those sessions are set aside for young drivers to gain experience in the cars, and as such, they don't need an F1 Super Licence. But Pato has done enough to qualify for his, so if at any stage in the future there's an opportunity that pops up, Pato can jump straight in an F1 car and know that he's good to go. So let's have a look at what other drivers will be paying this year. Lewis Hamilton, a little over €500,000. Fernando Alonso, $443,000. Charles Leclerc, same figure. Lando Norris, a little shy of $441,000. Carlos Sainz, a bit over $430,000. George Russell, a bit under $378,000. Oscar Piastri, a little over $214,000. Then down to Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda, $46,100. Valtteri Bottas, $31,400. Nico Hülkenberg, a little less than that. Daniel Ricciardo and Zhou Guanyu on $23,000. Kevin Magnussen, $16,700. Liam Lawson, $14,600. That's right, he picked up 2 championship points. And Logan Sargeant, the bargain price of €12,500. In total, the FIA pockets just shy of €5.4 million. And how do they use that money? Well, a lot of it's put towards safety improvements in the sport. Now let's have a look at the licence fees from last year compared to this year. Max Verstappen, we know, pays the most. He actually went up from last year, but it wasn't the biggest increase. That honour, or impost, went to Fernando Alonso, whose licence fee increased by more than €262,000. And the biggest reduction? Charles Leclerc, down $214,200. Some have argued that IndyCar should count for more points towards a licence, given the equally high level of skill required and the very tight competition. But can you lose your licence? Yes. If a driver hasn't participated in at least 8 F1 races over the previous 3 years, or hasn't scored at least 6 points in the FIA World Championship, they'd need to reapply. And that would include passing the physical and mental tests and meeting the age and nationality requirements. And just like a normal road driver's licence, they can lose it for a period for indiscretions handed out by the stewards. If a driver loses 12 points in a 12-month period, they'll be banned for 1 race. Let's have a look at who's got points at the moment. Sergio Perez has the most at 7, Logan Sargent on 6, Lance Stroll 5, both Mercedes drivers on 4, Yuki Tsunoda on 3, followed by Nico Hulkenberg, Zhou Guanyu, Valtteri Bottas, Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen on 2. That's the lot. All the other drivers have clean slates. And note that those points fall off 12 months after accruing them. Under the current system, a number of legendary F1 drivers and champions would have actually missed out on a seat in Formula One at the time they joined. Fernando Alonso, he would have missed out by 10 points. Daniel Ricciardo would have missed out by 2. And Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen would also have failed to meet all 3 criteria, that is age, years of racing and points accrued. That would have been quite a loss to the sport. And that, my friends, is about all you need to know about F1 super licenses. If you've got a moment, please hit the like button and subscribe, become a member if you haven't done so. And for a whole host of F1 content and stuff, this is where you need to look. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. No, that's not going to work. No. D's nuts.